Joes.
Welcome to the Regular Joe's podcast. I'm Dave Pisani.
I'm Barry Kay.
And I'm Todd Pleasant.
By 5:75, we're going to get this thing down.
We're working on it.
We're working on it. The pre-show technical difficulties, not even technical, they're more emotional difficulties. They're not emotional. Anyway, it's all stuff you don't need to hear, but thanks for coming.
The fact that this show makes it on the air at all once a week is a small miracle.
12 years. Barry posted yesterday, May 18th. Yesterday was our 12th anniversary.
Crazy, right?
I interviewed a gentleman last week who does, like, he's a journalist and he does podcasting. And he actually says, yeah, I've done over 100 podcasts. And I said, oh, yeah, we just recorded our 474th last week. 574th last week. And his jaw kind of dropped. So I was like, yeah, okay.
What's even more amazing is that we actually have a photo from the night that the idea was conceived.
Yes.
And not this coming weekend, but the weekend after. We're actually going to be seeing most of the people in that photo.
Yeah.
For the first time in a very long time. So I'm actually super excited about that.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's true. Wow. I'm trying to think who. Brian won't be there.
Brian won't be there, and Daryl won't be there, but everybody else that's in that picture.
I know, Daryl won't be. Daryl chose the wrong time to be away.
Yeah.
But that's funny. Yeah, 12 years. So, 12 years,
crazy.
And if we only made $1 million a year, we'd be set.
Yeah.
But,
Yes.
If only.
All the money goes to Smartless. Screw those guys.
No. Smartless and Joe Rogan.
Really screw that guy. Jesus. Yeah, he's like the #1 podcast. That just tells you what goes on in this country. But we're not here for that.
Apparently, fear was not a factor for him. That was his
he
tagline.
on Fear Factor?
He was the host of Fear Factor. And that was his tagline. When anytime somebody would win, he goes, apparently fear was not a factor for them.
Oh, jeez. I just remember him on News Radio. He was actually very funny on News Radio. He was kind of nutty. Was that the name of that show?
Yeah.
Phil Hartman? Okay. We're going to, I know we talk about it almost every week. We're going to talk about the last 3 episodes of Andor. Episodes 10 through 12.
Last 3 ever.
No. Renewed for season 3. No.
It's going to be another 10 hours of just looking at a steaming corpse.
Yeah, I think it was obliterated. So, and I did watch I finished Friday night or Thursday night, and I watched Andor in the movie theater. I mean it was a little harder to watch, afterwards, but we'll get into all that.
When we finished the final episode, I went straight to Rogue One and just watched the first 10 minutes because I wanted to see the scene with Cassian and the spy. So,
yeah. No, we watched the whole thing, and it's funny. Friend of the show, Michael McMaster, who makes robots, I guess I don't know if he went to Lucasfilm or somewhere. They showed the last episode, and then they showed Rogue One, I guess, at ILM or wherever.
I think it was at Lucasfilm in the Presidio. It looked like it, yeah.
Yeah, because he did show the Yoda statue, so that would have been pretty awesome.
Our invitations, I think they got lost in the mail.
They must have.
Yeah.
But good for him. So anyway, we'll talk about all that stuff. All right, and there'll be spoilers, so too bad. Let's go some random. Todd, what do you got?
Strange New Worlds, July 17th.
Yes, I was going to say we finally have a date.
Yeah. Yep. So coming up quick.
I saw something that, like, people will have a problem with this, or is that just some clickbait nonsense? They're like,
with what?
Why people have a problem with the Strange New Worlds premiere date? I didn't read it.
Because it's not soon enough? Like, what?
It conflicts with their vacation? No, but it's. I will say it is a late announcement. I mean, it's. They're giving us a month's notice. We've always had more notice than that on these things. But so what? We knew it was coming.
Don't know. Is it bad?
It's better than late August, which is what I anticipated. So
yeah, or I mean, look, it could have been October. It could have been any time this year.
I mean, now you premiere in the summer, you're destined to be canceled, but that's not a thing anymore.
I think they pretty much said. I pretty much think they said summer, but they had said. I was expecting it was going to be later summer, so I'm pleased. So.
Well, look, last week I was complaining that we hadn't gotten an Ironheart trailer, and like the day after we recorded, they dropped an Ironheart trailer.
I don't think you were complaining. I think you were just commenting.
Well, yeah, complaining is probably a little harsh. I was just commenting on the fact that it was weeks away and we hadn't seen a trailer, and then like the next day it dropped. So
I think it looked pretty good.
It's like Marvel's listening to us.
So too.
Yep. Okay, Marvel. Well, if you've been listening, there's a whole ton of shit you should be doing because. Dropping Ironheart wasn't the only thing that's going to fix things. Barry, what do you got?
Michael J. Fox is joining the cast of Shrinking in season 3.
Those are my two things. I have a couple others, but that's fine.
It's cool. I mean, I didn't even think he was acting anymore, and I guess they're calling this his return to acting.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, look, we all love Michael J. Fox, and I know he's suffering with his illnesses, but like it'll be great to see what they do with him. And I would imagine they're going to work some of that in. So
I'm sure he'll probably be an angry dude, even though he's not. He's really definitely dealt with this in a very productive way.
Yeah,
and classy,
for sure.
Classy and productive way. All right, let me go to my alternates here now. So a Superman trailer, similar stuff, but there's definitely new stuff in there. So tying into the Peacemaker, so we see Rick Flag, played by Rumlow from Captain America, but Rick Flag Sr. is the head of Argus now.
Who voiced Rick Flag Sr. in Creature Commandos.
Yeah.
And so I think that's awesome because he, like I said, and you got to think that he's going to be in Peacemaker also, and he's going to be in both.
That's what I'm saying.
Superman.
This is definitely something that's tying it. Well,
he's
even
in
though
Superman and Peacemaker, and
are being tied together for sure. Well, they were since the Peacemaker trailer with Guy Gardner and Lady Hawk or whatever her name is
with Hawkgirl. Yep, and
Dina.
He's definitely going to have an issue with Peacemaker.
I would imagine he would.
Yeah.
He sounds like he has an issue with Superman too.
Yeah.
So he's just an angry dude in general, Frank Grillo, right?
Yeah. My biggest concern, I mean, the trailer looks great. My biggest concern with it is what I've been saying all along. It just seems like there's so many characters in this thing. I trust James Gunn to totally... I have a lot of faith in him, and I think that he knows what he's doing, but it does seem, and maybe a lot of these characters are just quick cameos, but
look at... Go ahead, Todd.
I was going to say, here's my thing. Every other Superman movie we have ever gotten, first Superman movie, he's been seemingly the only hero in the world. And this is a way of stepping away from that. And having him be part of a world that has other superheroes. And I think it's a different approach, but it's more true to, the way the comics have been since the mid 40s.
That's fine though, but in a 2.5 hour movie, clearly the focus has to be on Superman's story. So are all these other characters just like bit parts and cameos, or are they going to be diluting the story by having too many characters in it?
Barry, when they do the reality TV show of your life, you're still going to have coworkers, right? And other people live on your block and stuff like that. And
if those coworkers are just, background characters and cameos,
I do not expect a ton of exposure to these characters. I really don't. I think they're peripheral.
I go back to there's not a lot of people I trust to do it. Probably JJ. I trust.
Yep.
James Gunn. We go back to Guardians again. He developed 4 major characters and several minor characters within a 2-hour movie without a problem whatsoever.
No, that's fair also. But I don't think of this movie going in, I'm not thinking it's an ensemble cast. I'm thinking it's a Superman movie.
I agree.
And it feels like there's a lot of characters in the trailer.
It's
for
like
Superman
okay, it's like say Star-Lord. Let's exclude the others, and then you had Yondu, and you had Glenn Close, and you had. If they're done that way, he could do it. There's not a lot of people who do it.
Think Invincible. Okay, so you get to learn just enough about the Guardians of the Globe to make them viable characters, but they were there in the story before we ever spent any time.
Look, I get it. I get it.
I think we're going to be fine.
Invincible is a 12-episode series, though, not.
But I'm saying when they didn't stop to introduce them, we just got them thrown at us.
Fine.
And then over time we, figured them out, and that's what I'm saying. I think because, though I will say they've also got some. Mr. Terrific is not extremely well known. Okay, he looks fantastic.
I hate that stupid mask on his face.
Oh no, it's great. It's perfect.
It is?
It's exactly comic accurate. That's exactly.
Okay, I think it's stupid even in the comics. Then I don't. You have a T. What if you were Mr. Potato Head? Would you have a P on your face?
You would not have a mask with a anyways, Hawkgirl I think is fairly well known, but not super well known. But of all the Green Lanterns, going with Gar Gardner, who is just basically asshole Green Lantern, it's brilliant. I think it's going to be great. So
I think it's going to be the best movie of the year, if not the past number of years. So that's my prediction.
And that's saying a lot, knowing there's a Tom Cruise movie in the mix, Dave.
Yeah.
Second best movie. Let me rephrase.
Yeah. So, you got anything else?
Yeah. Does anyone else have anything else?
I got two more. I got two quicks.
All right, so you go, Todd, and then I'll jump in.
Okay. Buffy the Vampire Slayer reboot is casted Ryan Kira Armstrong. I looked at that. I cannot remember that name. Who was Fern in Skeleton Crew.
Yep.
And was the young Black Widow in Black Widow, and was
she was.
She was the younger in the flashback. She was Natasha, and she was in a Stephen King. She was Firestarter in a Stephen King movie. So this kid's done a lot for being 15 years old. So I think it's going to be great. I like the idea of taking a younger character and giving her that older, experienced mentor, which I think is what they're going to do. And yeah. Really, really looking forward to this. So,
I liked her in Skeleton Crew. I thought she actually was a good young actress. So
I think she definitely was the best one in that.
Yeah.
That thing. Yeah. In that show for sure. They're showing that on the Disney Channel now.
Yep.
I think it's a little much for the Disney Channel. That Wolfman guy gets
shot in the
crushed
eye.
And.
Yeah.
It's pretty.
I'm wondering if they'll edit that a little bit, but yeah.
I kind of had it on the background. 2 episodes, like once. I think it's once a week, and they still have where he's threatening the mom and the kid with the lightsaber and stuff.
Better question here, Dave, is why were you watching the Disney Channel?
Yeah, okay.
I just came. We were flipping channels as some people do.
Why?
And it was
with
on
the dial. Were you using the dial on your TV?
No,
it
was the cable box with the wire with the buttons, and you push them.
Oh, okay.
Well, I may have come to the decision that I am completely going to bail on cable altogether, as opposed to I have not. We talked offline about this, but getting rid of my cable, I'm like, we sat down and counted the amount of times we actually watch non-streaming things, and it's almost never.
Yeah, so. I get it. It's why the world is going that direction.
Yeah.
So. We're drifting that way too.
Because I also saw I logged on to just look at my stuff, and I'm like, oh, these 2 discounts run out at the end of this month, so my bill will be $25 more than it is now.
You know what I just realized? I have a Disney Plus subscription and I have a Hulu subscription, and I've been paying for them both. And I just realized that there's a bundle offer that's $5 a month cheaper without commercials than I'm paying for Hulu with commercials.
Yes. Yeah. I am paying for Showtime in my cable subscription, and I get it free with with Paramount Plus.
Yeah, so there's a lot of that.
Yeah, I am too, but there's more to you. If you get it with Paramount Plus, you don't get the streaming of the shows.
I think
there's something. There's a thing there that I thought. No, it's the Paramount Plus. It's the other way.
No, it's
the other way. You can't stream the Paramount shows if you have the Showtime with Paramount Plus. Yeah, I did it. I canceled my Paramount Plus account. I was like, oh yeah, because I'm already paying for Showtime. I could not stream the I could not.
Yeah,
stream
of course. But when I called the unnamed cable company to cancel Showtime, oh yeah, sure, we can do that. Your bill goes up $10.
Yes, yeah. My cable company, which I will name, fucking Xfinity, same exact deal. $28 it was going to go up to get rid of Showtime.
Well, while I'm still gainfully employed by the cable industry, I will stay out of this conversation for now.
I think that's a wise choice.
You know, there is also, like, the only thing I get through my cable subscription is Max that I want to keep. I do want Max still.
Wait, don't you mean HBO Max?
You mean HBO Max because they're going back to the old name.
I mean home box office.
Idiots.
I want home box office. There's a Disney Plus Hulu Max combo.
Yeah.
Too.
So
and they're not even the same company.
So
yes.
I never deleted my on my Apple TV. I never deleted my HBO Max icon, and I keep clicking on it, and it says I've got to download the Max thing, which is actually the next thing over, and then I move over to it. So I finally got rid of the HBO Max icon, and just now I have the Max icon.
Well, they'll fix that for you this time around. They will.
Yeah.
It's nuts. All right, I had one other quick one. Alien Earth premiering with a 2-episode premiere August 12th. So that's coming up pretty soon, too. I mean, it's not right around the corner, but it's coming up.
Interestingly, the Star Trek is a 2-episode premiere also.
I think that's the thing that people do
I think
now.
that's kind of what people
wait.
2 or
Alien
3.
Earth is on what, Hulu?
I think it's Hulu and it's on FX on Hulu.
Whatever. I still don't know what that means. I don't know where I'll see it, but I will probably get the HBO Disney Plus Hulu deal. I think we have Hulu. You don't get Hulu free with Spotify?
No.
Mark does.
I think that's a student thing. I don't know. I have the family plan for Spotify. I pay for 5 or 6. I think I had 6 accounts or something.
Which is, I think it's so funny. I saw this meme on. It said, I know we're all over the place, but fuck all you people. What do you care?
This is us hanging out talking to people.
This meme was, Gen X is so angry because we had to replace our records with tapes, our tapes with CDs, our CDs with streaming, with online, and now subscription.
Yeah, now we have to pay to listen to the music that we already own. Yes,
exactly, and it's true.
And that's why they're angry.
Well, other reasons, but
one of the many.
Well, first of all, maybe not you, but me and Barry are Gen X.
I'm a baby boomer. Okay, I'm a baby boomer. So I had to replace my Edison cylinders, and my player piano reels.
You know what? I'm not as angry about all the versions of music that I have as I am about all the versions of movies that I've bought and replaced the same movie over and over again.
That's not something us Gen Xers do. That's something just us idiots do.
Yeah, I know.
But I still get the Spotify because if you don't pay for Spotify for the rest of your life, you lose all that music.
I still have thousands, and I mean thousands of CDs in bins in my storage room.
I know, but like you lose it if you're sick of paying for Spotify.
You know what? I literally use Spotify every day, and so does just about every member of my family. And it's the one streaming service that I actually don't mind paying for. All the rest of them I look at and go, "Really? I'm paying that much for that?" I don't even think twice about Spotify.
Really? Anyway, okay.
I buy a new Apple device about every 2 weeks or so. So I will never not have 3 free months of Apple Music. So I like it a lot. But for work, I'm registering new devices all the time, and I just keep getting my extra 3 months. So
What's funny is again, total non sequitur, but we were talking about streaming services, and we were talking about at work the other day, we were talking about Apple Plus, and we were saying how they have some of the best shows. They're spending the most money of almost anybody producing content, and yet nobody's watching it, which is even more absurd because Apple gives it away for free with every single device that they sell, but nobody's
watching it. But they're also building a back catalog of stuff that when theoretically people start watching them because the other ones run out of money.
There's 3 or more shows I'm watching right now on it.
Well, I know we are, but I don't hear anybody talking about. I mean, other than when we talk amongst ourselves.
I read a couple articles. Friends and neighbors. Ted Lasso. Everybody's talking about it.
Ted Lasso had a ton of people.
Ted Lasso and the morning show.
Other
than that,
shrinking.
Shrinking.
But we talk about shrinking. I don't know anybody else.
No, other people do too.
Huge.
Other people do too.
And they say Friends and Neighbors is one of the most downloaded shows this year.
Yep.
Are you guys watching that?
I like it.
I'm caught up.
I haven't started yet, but
oh really?
Likewise, I've talked to like 3 people at school that are watching the studio right now. Yeah. And I was late starting that, and it's there. I think they're getting some traction.
Yeah, I think so too.
They're getting some traction, but it's not for how much they're spending on content. But they and Amazon can afford to lose all the money in the world on this stuff.
Okay, so what they need to do right now, the next acquisition they need to make is Taylor Sheridan, and then they're done. Right?
Yeah, I bet he's got a piece of everything.
I'm sure he does. But I'm saying, just they're gonna buy him lock, stock, and ranch.
Still, I'm sure.
And
they should lure him away. He'd be better off at Apple.
I will say this: of all of the streaming apps, Hulu is in the most desperate need of an interface redesign. I hate the Hulu interface. Hate it.
I don't even know it. I hardly watch anything on there.
It's the only one I've ever seen where the icon that indicates which account you're logging in on, because I have one for me, one for Marie, one for Joey. It's above your name instead of under your name, so you can never tell which account you're logging into. It's the most insane, stupid. Yep. If you're listening, Hulu, yes, I said that. Your interface sucks.
Okie dokie.
So I got one last thing. It's quick. It's Kristen Ritter, Jessica Jones is going to be on Daredevil next year, which is awesome.
I did see that. Yeah,
I did see that.
I saw a clickbait headline that I didn't pick up, Todd, but it was something about Oscar Isaac coming back as Moon Knight and what was the Apocalypse in the new. It was listed like 3 characters that he's played before, tied to Marvel, and he's coming back as all of them apparently in Doomsday.
I gotta say, he could be. They could put Moon Knight in Daredevil, but he's not a New York centric character, and he is in the comics, but wasn't in the Marvel, version of it. So it would kind of make no sense.
I don't need to see him back as Apocalypse though.
Oh God!
Olivia Munn back as Psylocke. Yes, don't bring him back.
I can't believe he did that every time, and I can't believe how horrible he looked, and it was just awful. Everything's awful about that.
Yeah.
Olivia's good in.
She's great.
Friends and Neighbors too.
Yeah.
All this streaming and all this. If you really want to go back to your roots, Escape from New York is available on VHS. It's coming out on videotape. I guess that's a thing they're starting.
Does anybody have a working VHS machine?
Is this like the vinyl thing where
I don't know.
Hipsters are going to be big into? You said I work with a woman in her early 20s who buys VCR tapes. She just watched Sophie's Choice for the first time. I swear to God. Okay.
Was it a 2-tape thing?
That's a thing.
Well, Alien Romulus came out on VHS. That was sort of a novel.
I have a working VHS player.
I do too.
That I don't have hooked up, but I keep it because we have so many tapes of the kids on VHS-C format that I haven't converted yet.
You need to get those converted.
I've started. I got like
those
the first
tapes aren't going to
converted, but it's
that dust is not going to stay on that tape forever.
No.
Yeah. But I don't know. That's a thing. It's a horrible format. It was never great. I remember buying like an upscaling VHS Super it did nothing. It was stupid.
Yeah.
You know who's not stupid? Fanboy Collectibles.
No, they're not.
Not one but two versions of Revenge of the Sith Vader. The deluxe one, I don't know if you've seen it.
That thing is insane.
Comes with the operating table thing at the end and the little claws that put all this stuff
Put the helmet on them. And
helmets and multiple heads. It's
an amazing thing. Yes.
Even the regular version comes with like the burnt Anakin head and the Darth Vader mask. So that is quite the... if you have the space, I highly recommend it. That's cool. The whole
insane,
table scenario is wild. But
the Sideshow Succubus premium format figure looks really cool.
I know someone at work we used to call the Succubus.
and yet another Obi-Wan figure, which is awesome. So
they're finally getting around to doing all the versions from all the prequels. So
so basically it's good hair Obi-Wan.
It's Jesus Obi-Wan.
Yeah, it is Jesus Obi-Wan.
Yeah. But Pops and Sideshow and Hot Toys and Hasbro and Kotobukiya and statues. There are plenty of statues. Iron Studios. Others I couldn't think of off the top of my head, but they got tons of stuff. Check those guys out, fanboycollectibles.com. Check them out at their store in Newtown, Connecticut. If there's something you're looking for, drop them a line. They may be able to get it or have it. Troy, who owns the store, is a good guy, and he will hook you up.
He'll go out of his way to make sure he can help you. If it's possible, he will do it.
Absolutely. There's a lot of these kinds of stores out there, and they all either don't last or are annoying. This is neither one of them. Great customer service, and they got all the stuff you need. So check those guys out.
So, Dave, tell us what's going on at FromDavesWorkshop.com.
From Dave's Workshop. I am working... I don't know if I can talk about any of it, but I have working on definitely two new projects. I could probably talk about one of them. One is a vest from Titanic, one of the life vests.
Oh, that's cool.
I don't know. I had done the V for Vendetta for this same person. That whole thing. But I'm doing a whole an oak background. You know, it's going to be very much like my Rebel Trooper vest.
Okay.
That with the background and the plexiglass cover. But I'm matching the oak to the oak that they built the staircase out of.
Oh, nice.
In the thing. And then I'll have some brass accents and stuff.
Well, it helps that you're also a very good woodworker and you have those skills as well. So there you go.
There you go. Thank you very much. And then I'm doing a couple other things. We'll see if they could be revealed. But yeah, we are busy. I say we in the texts, in the Instagrams. Check us out. It's just me, but you never know. Maybe I'll hire Kramer as an intern. But check us out from davesworkshop.com and check out the Instagrams and stuff.
And check out their store in Newtown, Connecticut. No,
check out the store in Newtown, Connecticut.
Tell them the regular Joe sent you.
But yeah, what did I sent? Oh, I sent a picture from the shop on Instagram. But I had posted on my Instagram like a week or two ago. I may have mentioned here. I put the adjustable base on my work table. So I have work benches and I have a work table that I do assembly and stuff. It's an outfeed table for the table saw. I got to tell you, that adjustable base, it's amazing. I adjust it to so many different heights depending on what I'm working on. And for the first, May? I've been doing this since January. The first 3 or 4 months from Dave's Workshop, my back was killing me because I was leaning over this table doing stuff like sanding things. No more. I raised the table up to sand. It's the best $180 I spent.
Nice. Game changer.
It is a game changer. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
There you go. Check us out. I'm also selling workbenches. No. Okay, let's talk some Andor. The last 3 episodes. I say the best 3 episodes?
What did you guys think?
I thought this is what I was looking for the whole time.
I was a little worried you might, after that last arc, with all the action, that you might feel like it wasn't everything you'd hoped for. I loved it, but I was worried that you guys might have felt like there needed to be more action in it.
I don't. There was more. There may not have been so much blasters and things, but there was more going on. I mean, I felt like we were doing stuff.
There was payoff in this.
There were rescues and things, and I got to say, I mean, I'm curious. K2SO steals the scene. Everyone he's in. And I wonder if that's why they couldn't have him in every episode.
They said that. They literally said.
They did say that it's also, there's limited things that you can do with him because he's so recognizable. It's not like you can't hide him in a crowd, whatever. So, but also there's technical issues and.
But they said that even in Rogue One, that's why they mostly left him on the ship because every scene he was in.
I think he was used to perfection. Okay. I would have loved this scene. Like a 10-episode series where they're like Han and Chewbacca going around doing all this stuff together.
Need to see that, yes.
But that scene when he's coming down the hallway and he takes that Imperial and uses him as a human shield. That was amazing.
But I have this. I'm realizing,
and that was the thing, though.
Giant smile on my face every time he was on the screen.
Perfect for the perfect use of the character. It didn't change the character at all. It just dovetailed in perfectly with what we saw and knew of him. And that was great. There was because we saw change and evolution in all the other characters. We did not need to see that in him. And it was perfect. It was
when he first gets off the ship and starts going in to help Cassian and he's walking towards that one Imperial and the guy goes, "Are you with us?" And he just says no and bats him off the bridge. Yeah. It was great.
But we now know that is how those operate. They basically throw people.
Yep. That was great. Yeah.
Perfect. There is definitely a way someone can take another one and make K2S 1, I guess. I don't know. Is it an O? And have a whole series based on him. Alan Tudyk is just amazing. It's so good.
Yeah. You can tell he was having fun.
Yeah.
And
he's in the suit. Did you see any? I saw a little behind the scenes video. He's on like those painter stilts.
And he's in, there's scenes of him with, all the motion capture stuff on him sitting in the cockpit.
Yeah.
So, no, that was terrific. Again, like I said, this arc was payoff. I think the amazing thing to me is that one of the best episodes of this entire series, Cassian Andor never appeared in. I mean, that's incredible. Okay. And I think that first episode of this arc is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
And it was 100% earned. Both those characters. I'll say it's not both. There was 4 characters that had their story pretty much wrapped up there. And everyone was true to character. Everyone, you learned new things. You saw things that you thought were inevitable, but it still played out in a way that was super entertaining and also edge of your seat.
Yeah. Stellan Skarsgård was just next level on this thing. I mean, he was so good.
Did, and he did terrific. And I also think that this was a spy story. It was a spy story from the beginning. And this is the way the resistance was in World War II. A lot of people that you never expected were involved, and a lot of them died, and their names will never be known. And this is a guy who knew from the get-go that he wasn't coming out of this alive, and told Andor he wasn't coming out of this alive.
I've watched that episode 3 times. And it gets better every time. Because there's so much. You make fun of me because I use this word all the time, and I usually mean it in a joking way. But there's so much nuance in that interaction.
In this instance,
Dedra
I am not
and Luthen.
I am not going to make fun of you. It's perfectly applied.
And I got to say, the way was so perfect.
The way they built her character slowly over this season. And and I'll say one thing with this show, really, incredibly, in different ways, strong female characters without being like rah, hey, we're strong female characters. Bix, Deirdre, her, and then also
Clea.
Mon Mothma.
And Clea.
It's like, and Clea,
I think is who we meant.
But I'm saying, that's what I meant by her. And I'm saying, just tremendous. And we're hugely pivotal to the story. And I think his mother dying in the first season kind of paved the way for that.
Well, the actress that played Clea, this was her first role.
I heard that.
Yeah. This was her first role. She was amazing.
Yeah, it's interesting to see through this season you saw her do. Last season it was not a lot. Then you saw her do a little more. She just grew in every episode to where she was pivotal. I mean, and I don't even look at these 3 episodes to me were very seamless. I can't even differentiate between like 1 or 10, 11, and 12 because that whole arc was very smooth. But yeah she was terrific, and that to me was again, I know what I was. You saw her backstory, which was not dragged out, but you totally got where you didn't know any of that before.
No, well, you didn't know Luthen's backstory either. And what's interesting is his last name was Lear, and he just reversed that. And when he came up with his name Luthen Rail, he just made Lear into Rail.
Yeah.
He just flipped it around.
Yeah. And the fact that of all the characters in this, I never expected he was like a former Imperial. Okay, who just basically saw the thing that made him realize, what we're doing is wrong, and then became this person, and also her, she was a significant part of that.
For up until this point, we didn't know. For all we knew, she was just his assistant. We didn't even know.
At one point, all of a sudden, this became The Last of Us, and
totally.
It was again super well done. To see the relationship of them over the course of the the other episodes, and then find this dimension to it, and that whole thing with him teaching her as a child to be an insurgent, like telling her not to look when the explosion goes off, before the explosion goes off, and things like this, and he made a soldier out of her, and.
They really developed her character so well.
I just thought it was really fitting that when you really look back at this whole thing, Dedra is directly responsible for the destruction of the Death Star.
Oh my God, yes. Yeah.
It's so funny how, and that's, you thought she was going to be, I'm really in deep with the Empire and she didn't. Her fate was worse than getting shot in the head, like Sigil.
Oh my God!
Which I thought she would get eventually, but you literally are the embarrassment of the Empire and in prison, which is so
well. And what's really
fitting.
funny when you go back and
where
rewatch,
he was imprisoned,
When you go back and rewatch season 1, she gets in trouble for essentially trying to go around other members of the Imperial team, and they basically say to her, next time, have your guy captured before you basically make a big deal out of it. So they basically told her back in season 1, if you're gonna don't tell us about Axis again until you've got him. So they kind of forced her to go outside of the process. I mean, well, let's face it. She could have just stopped hunting for him.
She grandstanded and blew it.
But she could have stopped hunting for him like she was told to. But instead, she couldn't let it go. But she felt like she had no choice but to get him and then bring him.
She was so desperate to impress everybody.
Yes.
And it was her downfall.
And if she had simply swarmed that place with shock troopers and taken him down, she would have had the prisoner that she would have the prize that she wanted. And she wanted to brag, she wanted to boast, and she totally underestimated the fact that, you know, he was not going to be taken alive. And
he was showing her a freaking ceremonial blood
Again,
dagger.
But she, like I said, spent all this time studying this guy without knowing who this guy was. And
that line of dialogue when he says, "And yet I've known who you were all along."
Yeah. Yeah. Which is
the dialogue was perfect.
in some ways is the perfect counter to Cyril and Andor.
Exactly.
Okay?
Yes.
Because, you know, Cyril spent this committed, you know, years and years to Andor, and Andor had no clue who the hell he was. And so, no, I thought, like I said, I think that was
when she walks in there brilliant. And she starts asking him questions about the antiquities, and she's like, "Is anything in here not real?" And he's like, "Maybe 2 items." Like, he's basically talking about the 2 of them not being what they seem to be.
Yeah.
And then when he shows her the dagger and she goes, "So have you determined if it's authentic?" And he's like, "Jury's still out. The tension mounts." Like, he was just the way he built up the dialogue. It was it was amazing. I've like I said, I've watched that episode 3 times.
He knows where he stands at that moment. There's no way that she randomly walked in that store.
Oh, total. Well, especially once she puts that freaking device on the table. Like,
yeah,
you know.
So
and I'm glad that girl, whatever her name is, who's the assistant? What's her name? Clea. Yeah, I mean, then all of a sudden she's like, this is her show. You know, she had to, you know, break in and kill Luthen and like. And,
right.
And she went badass, and next thing you knew, she was like killing people, and she got in there. How about also what she had to do?
Yes, absolutely. And again, that was, you know, she'd been trained for this her whole life, and it would not have made it wouldn't have seemed right if you hadn't, you know, putting the flashbacks in. I think was very good. It wasn't, they hadn't done that other than going back to like season 1, really, you know, where they had his childhood things and stuff like that. And you know, I thought that was well done. It made perfect sense. I think his also like his killing Lonnie. What's
Lonnie.
Yes, okay. You know, ruthless, but it's what you do. I mean, it was just
he had
like
no choice. He really had no choice.
He had no choice. And
then you know, this whole time,
I knew when he said Yavin.
Yeah.
I was like,
once he said it out loud, you knew it was over.
When he said it out loud, he said, and I was just like, he's dead. Well, and it's like, you can't let him leave with that you know, that name.
But we've seen Dedra do really horrible things, right? We thought of her up till this point as a really ruthless, you know, Imperial. And then you see her getting interrogated by Krennic, and you go, "Oh shit! There's a whole other level of ruthless and evil."
Yeah.
And you really start to get a sense for, you know, how, you know, she was not nearly as evil even as some of them can be. But that scene where he's interrogating her and then he's like, "Well, you know," I think she still thinks that she's useful to them at some point, and he basically
she
tosses
still
her
thinks
aside.
That this is all going to get sorted out.
Yeah,
and I think it's
And then he says something like, "Somehow we'll survive without you," or something he says to her, and that's when I think she realizes, like, oh crap. I don't think she realized she was going to Narkina, into that prison.
Oh my god! And even like her supervisor there, you know.
Oh, that was great too. Yeah.
Oh, God. It was again.
He pulls out the D11 blaster, and then the other guy leaves the room, and
like knows what he basically knows the option he just gave him.
They didn't know they were the bad guys, and then they're like, "Yeah, I have no choice. It all gets pinned on me, and I'm going to prison." And then I'm like, the other guy's like, "I got to kill myself." Like, this is how bad they are. These guys are. The Empire's bad. Sorry. You know,
well, they also know whether they think they're the bad guy or not. They know the pond that they're swimming in, and they know what happens to someone who's disgraced and what happens to their family and what down the line. It's just
and let's not forget it. Krennic is way behind schedule on the Death Star, and if he is going to use this as an opportunity to deflect blame for himself. Like, look at this, here, Emperor. These are the reasons why we're late, because these screw-ups keep happening, and these people are responsible. And oh, look, they're all dead.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I mean, and and then
he's great.
He's badass in this, interrogating her, and then in Rogue One, he goes to see Vader, and Vader basically puts him in his place. Like every step of the way, these guys are being put in their place.
I think he was also used perfectly. I think he could have been. There was a lot of potential to overuse him. And I think he was, he was a perfect prelude to the character that he would later play.
Yeah.
Or earlier play. You know what I'm saying?
And I know last week I said, I really hope this doesn't end with us seeing Bix on a planet with a baby. But I feel like what they did was better than what I was envisioning in my head. So I was okay with it.
It was tough. It was tough for how they were going to not just bypass Bix. I'm not saying
they needed to end on a hopeful note.
Yeah,
it had to end on a hopeful note.
It's just such an overused trope.
Yeah, it's very overused.
It's like,
but the fact that Vel tells Cassian you should reach out to her, and he's not. I mean, it's not
Black Panther's died, but surprise, he's got a son. Glenn's dead, but Maggie's pregnant, so it's okay. It's James Bond's going to die, but it's your kid. It really is your kid. I mean,
I haven't seen any of those things. You just spoiled them all for me.
But like I said, the surviving child as a trope is just
which goes nowhere because unless they're coming out with Cassian or Andor Jr.
But now think about this though. Okay, she wants to be safe. She wants to raise her child in safety, so she goes back to the planet Kansas, where she killed an Imperial officer who tried to rape her. Okay? That's where she's going to feel safe. That was a little weird.
Yeah. Well, maybe they'll do an Andor Jr. with K2S1.
Yeah. Well, look, the B2 droid is there with his little yellow friend. And,
it's fun. I didn't expect us to see that droid again.
It just seemed like of all the places in the galaxy to go hide, you would not want to go someplace where you previously killed an Imperial officer.
That's fine.
It's
well, what better place to hide, right?
Yeah, the Mon Mothma's husband, hooking up with his.
That was what's his?
That was his
redhead dude's wife,
his daughter's mother-in-law.
Yeah,
which I've read that there was some deleted scenes that.
Did you read about that? I think that would have been a much better way to go, Barry. I really do. The original. Did you read this, Dave?
Yeah.
I think the original intent was him basically say, "Yeah, I've been supporting you all along. I've known what you were doing, and
I don't even feel like he's the character that needed to be resolved.
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't think we even needed that.
There was also a deleted story point where the father-in-law or I guess his daughter's father-in-law, the gangster guy, that he apparently owned the news station that was being, they were broadcasting Mon Mothma's speech and they shut it down. And originally, I think that they were going to have him, because he was the one refusing to shut the broadcast off, that he ended up getting arrested or something, and that might be why
it went out to the galaxy and did not it was only turned off in the Senate,
right? And that's why Mon's husband and his wife were together, because they were both of their spouses were gone or something. But I didn't feel like it needed an explanation.
No, they didn't need to show that. I mean, I don't know why they even threw that in, but
that was an odd one.
I actually liked that it was there, just because you're like, oh, okay, he's in a car with another woman and a bottle of alcohol, and he's literally drinking it.
See, it worked on the surface. It wasn't like, oh, here's the backstory. No,
it didn't need to be explained.
He's like, I just want to be a rich socialite. I don't care who it's with. And that's
so basically that was the life goes on.
That's what you got
exactly.
out of that
when
scene.
You're rich, it doesn't matter what's going on in the galaxy. because you're still,
Yeah. I will say I both was bothered by and appreciated when he goes back there and lays everything out and they're not ready to accept it.
Yeah, that was a little...
But that was a great setup for what happens in Rogue One.
Oh, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. But it was actually really good in that, again, he's the one who's out there in the trenches, and he comes back there, and they're like, they want to be cautious, and they want to. It's.
Well, they also don't trust anything coming from Luthen, even though they were happy to take his money and happy to have him doing what he was doing, but they didn't trust the information because it came from Luthen. And the fact that they got absolutely. It corroborated in Rogue One by another source.
Because they're not out there, I mean, they're in, when you think of it, relative safety, okay, in large part due to him, but they're not making the decisions he's making and doing the day-to-day things that he has to do to make this work. I think this was, like I said, this was a very good kind of allegory for any type of resistance operation, whether, like I said, there's the people that are the face of the resistance, and then there's the people that you never see who are really the ones who get things done and end up in the unmarked graves and just, yeah. So.
Well, I knew they said that it was going to lead right up to Rogue One, but I like the fact that it literally led right up to Rogue One.
Literally. And I watched it. He's in the same outfit. That was the mission they were going on. Yeah. So it was good. I'm glad it wound up this well. The last 6 episodes to me are the strongest. I mean, but it's tough because you know what's coming.
This is the thing. It's okay. You make a movie called Lincoln. You know how it's going to end. Okay.
Yeah.
And this was the thing. I mean, we went into this knowing, well, initially thinking there were going to be 5 seasons, but we went in this knowing that this was going to be how this was going to end. And I think they did a very, very good job of justifying telling this story.
Yeah.
I don't agree with all the use of time, but
agreed.
I would say there's far more good than bad in this. And there's not even bad. There's just, it's
slow.
It's long. Slow. That's what I'm saying.
Cassian Andor is now a character that we have spent more time with than any other Star Wars character on screen.
And Barry, and they justified that. And they made that like, okay, honestly, we know more about him than we know about the Mandalorian. Far more. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. We may think we know how the Mandalorian is going to act in a given set of circumstances, but we don't know his motivations. We don't know his we don't know his soul like we know this guy, and I think this was a really interesting gamble, and obviously things changed a lot through the course of this. It wasn't the series they originally proposed. It wasn't done the way it was. It was originally proposed, but I think I'll tell you, I think this is the best Star Wars TV they've made. I really
it is
that.
By far, and I just hope that we can get more Star Wars at this quality level.
And
whether it's movies or TV,
we never
or
saw a lightsaber, okay? And there are stories to tell out there that are not the Skywalker family and are not the same thing we've seen over and over again, and don't have to sell toys. And I think this was absolutely brilliant.
Speak for yourself.
And like I said, it's
Barry both have K2SOs.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's also I have one.
Mine signed by Alan.
So is mine.
That's right.
But I think their story. This says there's stories to tell out there, and they can be done well. And again, this is an unforgettable, interesting character who's indelibly part of this universe now. And
the fact that Ryan Gosling is playing their son is going to be great.
Yeah.
Everybody immediately wanted to jump to, it's Poe.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
no, it's not Poe.
It's
not Din Djarin.
Okay. Star Wars loves its orphans. Okay, they do. It's just and they'll find a spot for this kid. So there's a spot.
Did you guys catch the Gungan skull in Luthen's shop? There was a full full head Gungan skull, which wasn't there in the previous
I saw that
seasons.
afterwards, yeah.
Yeah, so cool.
So,
yeah, I'll be watching it again because my son Joey hasn't seen it yet, so I'll be watching it again with him.
All right, Andor good, finally.
Andor good.
No, it was good. It was good. It was very good. I know we've been jumping around with the studio, but if you're not watching the studio, you should. It's fun. But we're all caught up, or we're not caught up, or
I think we're all caught up.
I'm caught up.
Yeah.
I watched last night or Wednesdays.
Yeah.
What the thing again? And there's no like through line in a big way, but I give them a ton of credit for. There's 30 different actors playing. The word is versions of themselves in this show, which is huge.
Well, Kool-Aid is a bit of a through line through the whole thing. But.
Yeah, well, the whole
studio,
thing. I mean,
all the films, every film
you
they
can watch
mentioned has
individual
reoccurred.
episodes. But so we were talking briefly how they did the Golden Globes. I have no idea because they were at the Golden Globes.
It was that episode was an amazing feat of TV show making.
I'm really curious.
So they
how
basically
they did
took all the seat fillers and said, "You need to stay." Okay, and it's just like,
but people are on. I want to see behind the scenes. There people are on stage saying stuff.
Okay, but
famous
also
people
the
saying
Golden
stuff.
Globes. The Golden Globes has a chip in its shoulder, and always will. Okay, so when they said, "No, we're going to make you center stage. We are going to make you the biggest thing ever." Okay, I'm sure they dove in with both feet.
But you got to get everyone in the room to agree. I unless that was like the volume or some crazy thing, I don't know how they did that. It's really something
you
else.
didn't see everybody. You didn't see a ton of famous people in there, and they made the most of the people that they did.
Did they shoot like during the dress rehearsal or something? I really don't know.
Yeah,
it was. It's so many like long one-er shots and just following people around and. Like it just technically that episode was really.
But if
amazing.
you really look at all the episodes, the handheld camera work in that show is amazing.
Yeah.
Oh
there are a lot of shots when they're following somebody through an entire like the one when he's at the restaurant with his mother, and they're following him through as he's going to pick up the mushrooms and
there's a lot of that.
How great was it that we get the mother like on the phone, unseen mother. Hectoring mother on the phone, and then we get to see her, and it's Rhea Perlman. I thought that was great.
And I know I complained when we talked about this a week or two ago that I said I wasn't loving all of it, and I am enjoying it. I felt there were a couple episodes in the middle where this all felt very one note to me, but then there have been high points where I'm like, oh, this is really, really compelling, great, funny TV. But I guess I just have a fundamental issue, and I know it's parody, but studio executives aren't this stupid. That's the part that I'm sort of struggling with.
I don't know that you know that, Barry. Okay, I think they
know
are
executives in the entertainment industry, and I know they're not all.
They're not.
As this group of people appear
it's
to
also
be.
entirely possible if Bryan Cranston's character was the head of that studio, it is entirely possible that he replaced. That he would put this person in. After Catherine O'Hara's character. I mean, it just.
I bet there's some.
Maybe there is some, but it just feels...
Don't forget there's somebody who said, I don't care what happens, but Superman has to fight a mechanical spider at the end of the movie because his kids like spiders.
And the idea that, like I said, this guy is, he's completely surrounded by people that are just like coldly ambitious, but he loves film, okay? And he cannot reconcile those two things where like he's running this studio and he really wants both to make art and to be regarded as an artist when really he's got to be about making money.
He's making a Kool-Aid movie.
No, but that's what I'm saying. But but this is not what he wants. So imagine getting the thing that you have wanted your whole life and being told that, it's not really the thing that you want. Now you have to do this.
The episode when he's with the doctor and he goes to that event with the doctors and they're all looking down at him.
Yeah,
that
so
really showed.
I just gonna tell you, okay, that episode. I dated a doctor briefly, and I went out once with her and her friends, I was having like PTSD. Okay, I could not relate to any of these people.
And these guys are
fine with her.
Child cancer doctors.
But it was exactly what it was like. These people just they have this very insular. None of these people watch TV shows, watch movies, read anything other than nonfiction books, and it was like, and I'm like, oh, okay, I can talk to these people about nothing. And this guy, it's even worse. It's also really interesting seeing Rebecca Hall. It's the only time I've ever seen her.
I didn't even realize that was her.
The only time I've ever seen her with her own voice, because she always plays an American, or Canadian or something. But it's. I thought that was a great. I think they were all really, really good in their own way. I mean, I love the Chinatown homage episode. The one shot is brilliant. One of the really cool things about this show is there is a 24-minute episode and there's a 44-minute episode. These things are exactly as long as they need to be, just like films, unless it's a Ron Howard film with a extended scene at the end.
But I think every single thing in that show is got a kernel of truth that came out of it.
Oh my God. Sure. There's somebody in those. These are there's a real story behind so many of these things. I love him wanting to get his name mentioned when he was on stage.
That came from Ted Sarandos, actually, the guy who runs Netflix. That story came from him. That's why he was in it.
And saying, so I've got this. It's contractual. They have to mention me. It's like,
but that was. I was watching that, going, well, that's obvious. Why the hell didn't you think to do like that? That to me was like, yeah, right. That's important.
Because
so you put it in the contract.
He thinks but part of him also thinks he earned it, and so he wouldn't do that. But doing the Jack Palance thing,
they don't
doing
think
the Jack
of the head of
Palance
the
thing with
studio
Sal Saperstein was absolutely brilliant.
That was great. They don't tend to think of the head of the studio as part of the creative team. They just don't.
Oh yeah, no, I get that. I get that. But
they're the suits. They don't like them. Yeah. The one shot thing, that they're trying to get it with the certain light. I worked on a movie that I can't remember exactly where we all traveled out to Montauk or something to get a shot at golden hour. Had one shot to do it, and the makeup person took too long, and we had to stay another night to get it the next day. I mean, that shit happens.
Yeah,
it's so ridiculous.
Well, and the one with Ice Cube when he has to go finally meet up with Ice Cube because they keep recasting the movie in real time.
Oh my God, that was so great! No,
those conversations
happen all the time for sure.
That happens.
Yeah,
it's like
I gotta say, Seth Rogen. I mean, I've always been a fan, but he's a talented dude. He does a ton of stuff.
I just want his character to be a little less stupid.
That self-deprecating.
Yeah, I agree with that.
In everything, every aspect of his character is phenomenal. Do you also realize you never see him drive the same car twice?
No,
and they're all expensive cars.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And in the most recent episode, we're throwing an old school Hollywood party, but he doesn't. Not everybody understands that means that there's drugs in the food. Zoe Kravitz played a great
Kravitz. Oh my God, that was fantastic. When she's stoned and she's she recounts what's happened in the last several hours, and it was 15 minutes.
Yeah, he's it's been 20 seconds.
It's yep. So
it's good. You should be watching. It's on Apple
TV Plus.
Catherine Hahn, Catherine O'Hara. Everybody.
Catherine Hahn's funny. She's so.
She's really good in it. Yeah,
it is great. Catherine O'Hara, I think, is really, really good. Bryan Cranston.
I love how he's I'm 82.
Okay, so when you look at this version of Bryan Cranston, do you think Stan Lee?
Yes.
He's really seriously got a Stan Lee vibe going.
Yeah. And I know we're spoilers all over the place. When he fell off the bridge in the Venetian and into the gondola, it was great.
So great. Yeah. Yep.
Good stuff.
Yep. So good.
It's fun. It's entertaining. It's light. It's good to watch. I'll always try to watch that after The Last of Us or something just because it's oh my God, this is so heavy. I need something just stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, you should be watching it if you're not. So check that out. Okay. Next week, we're pretty Mission Impossible. The last Mission Impossible, I'm pretty sure.
Certainly seems Tom Cruise, that way.
If he says he's done, he's done. He's got a million other things to do.
Yeah, he's got to make that movie in space.
Yeah, and he may or may not be dating Ana de Armas. So either way, he's spending time with her. That's enough. So
good for him.
Good for him.
It's his most recent publicist arranged romance. So
you're just jealous. Anyway, I think it's going to be great. It's going to be the best movie of the summer. No, I don't know.
Probably not, but I think it's going to be good. I'm hoping it's going to be
They
good.
are promoting the hell out of it, which I don't think they did as much for the last one. And it did not do great, amazing box office. So I don't think they're taking any chances this time.
Yeah.
So, cool. And thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.